Welcome to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network. What is going on, everybody? Somebody has a case of the Mondays. Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And, well, Bob's your uncle. Rants on the Street with Thomas Stevens. Shout out to my producer, Tyler Heavy T. Soto. Boom. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network and at Fantasy Alarm at all, and I mean all, your favorite social media platforms. As always, what a show we have for you tonight. Again, for some reason, a Monday Night Football doubleheader. Woo! Let's go. The Eagles are taking on the surprising 2-0 Bucks at the Los Angeles Rams against the lowly Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. Wow. Woo! So hopefully, because the thumbnail now for this show has become cursed, then nothing bad happens to Jamar Chase. We'll just leave it at that. So shout out to Jamar Chase. I actually have him in a few leagues, so I'd be kind of wondering where he's been. But so far tonight, it's actually off to a decent start, Jamar Chase. He has 3 receptions for 23 yards as the second quarter has just started and is on its way. In the Eagles-Baker Mayfield game, the Eagles are up 13-0, already back into the red zone after a big Swift run. More on Swift later, but not DeAndre. And they're looking to keep that game in hand here and probably put more points on the board and go up even more on the Buccaneers. So, with that being said, Tampa Bay, the Falcons, the Saints, all teams with great starts. Looking like the run of NFC South teams of dominance is over here after week 3 in the NFL. And as always, we'll keep you updated what's going on as we go forward. Shout out to Puka Nacua, by the way, who already has 3 receptions and 31 yards in the first quarter. And I'm not one that really feels that when Cooper Kupp does come back, you're still playing him as an everyday player. Puka Nacua. What, he's only going to get 10 receptions instead of 18? Come on. I think he's proven himself in that offense, and McVay loves the dude. And he's going to be a weapon for a very long time. So shout out if you actually drafted him in your dynasty leagues. Woo! You got yourself some Puka Nacua. I did. I also told you on the show he was one of my sleepers. Just saying, it's working out. McVay knows how to find those receivers out of nowhere that somehow, some way, crush. So the spreads for this game when it opened, or the 2 games, the Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, was a 5.5 spread. I was actually all over Philadelphia in this one. I don't believe it. I know Baker Mayfield. He's had 2 really good weeks, okay? I get it. It's still Baker Mayfield. Like, I just can't. And the Eagles, the defending NFC champions, there's no way. I actually like the -5.5 and took it, and that's looking good as we speak right now as they get closer to another touchdown or score here in the third quarter. On the other hand, though, I actually really like the Rams in this game as the underdog in the second game and took the Rams actually as the underdog because I don't know what's going on with Joe Burrow. It was a -3 close for Cincinnati at home, so on a neutral field, even. And again, I just like what I've seen from the Rams, even though they lost last week. Matthew Stafford is playing like the old Matthew Stafford. He's putting the ball at will up in the air. They got rid of Cam Akers, and now Williams is a running back, and he's been solid as well. And this is Sean McVay we're talking about. So I was actually kind of all over the Rams tonight. A lot of people on Cincinnati, no crazy stats like last week where both sides was like 80% on one team for both games. It's relatively even this week, but I did like the Rams for the even maybe the upset. So we'll see how that plays out on Monday Night Rants. But the good news is you could be answering questions. You didn't get a chance to bet on the game ahead of time like I did. Well, guess what? Bettercast. That's right. The Better Sports Network, Bettercast. You can go on right now. I'm in 20th place. I got to catch up. You can see, once again, the chat going crazy, answering those live questions. There's a live question right there. Who will lead the game? The Bengals-Rams game at halftime. I'm all about the Rams, so I'm going to say Rams plus 10 right there and put my answer on the board. It's that easy, plus 10. We'll see what happens when it's all said and done. And all those Monday Night Rants watchers, of course, in the chat as well. It's bettercast.app. It'll take you right to the app to download on Android or Apple. And you win tickets to win gear from Fanatics. It's really cool. If you've always wanted that authentic jersey, we'll start winning Bettercast. Get those points, get those tickets, and cash them in for jerseys and hats and shirts and even autographed memorabilia. Bettercast.app. Check it out. I'll be playing the rest of the night. I know Heavy T will be as well. We'll tally up our scores at the end of the night. And another question just came through. You'll be hearing that ding ding for a while here. It is which team will finish the night with the most points? I'm going to go ahead and say the Eagles. Get my see what happens there. So there you go. So as always, we do the Guillotine League eulogies and whatnot, and we've had to sweat them out. And unfortunately, the last 2 weeks for the players that went out were because of injuries. We had Aaron Rodgers' injury knocking out Better Thomas week 1. And, of course, the devastating Nick Chubb injury last week, knocking out Better Boss. So there's no more team name with Better in him anymore. So that's good news. But, however, we have one tonight. West of PCH has been eliminated from the Guillotine League. He will be put on the eulogy block later from Heavy T. By the way, as always, behind the glass tonight. And a staple of my Net Rants here. Shout out to Tyler Heavy T. Soto, who will be joining me later for a new segment that we invented off my head last week called What Say Ye, Heavy T. And also Thomas Stevens is off tonight, so he'll be doing the Rants on the Street as well. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun with him later and the eulogy for the Guillotine Link, so stay tuned for that. And of course, it is Monday, and I did not hit last week, and I was upset. But more bingo cards this week, that's right. Rival Fantasy, join rival.com/alarm. Get up to a $200 deposit, and your free entry, whether it's a bingo card or a challenge, is free. And again, I've been playing their season long. I did a few drafts on there, and I'm actually about to be 3-0 in both leagues that I played their season long. It is so easy to play. It's so much fun over there, Rival Fantasy. I recommend checking it out. My lineup tonight is Jalen Hurts, good, Kyron Williams, DeAndre Swift, A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, even though he's the cover boy tonight, Dallas Goedert, McPherson, Mike Evans. I put in Mike Evans over Puka Nacua, and I'm kind of regretting on some of these cards or totals I have here in my cards for receivers, like plus 100 total yards, receptions. Like I should have put in Puka. But you know what? It's okay. I got 5 cards going. I win 1. I get my percentage. I get my winnings, and I immediately donate it to the Alzheimer's Foundation and charity like I did 2 weeks ago and 2 weeks before that. So there you go. So everyone wins here on Monday Night Rants, and you win just because you get to play fantasy sports bingo at Rival Fantasy each and every Monday night with me, and on Sundays and on Thursdays, and then the last week of baseball season here. You could also do that as well. So check it out. That's joinrival.com/alarm. Up to $200 deposit bonus back, plus your first entry, whether it's a challenge or bingo, is absolutely 100% on them. Boom. I'm telling you, Rival Fantasy is the next sleeper. Their game, their site, everything is so easy to do, and I've been loving it ever since I found it. So check that out as well. I'm pretty sure you will love it too. So there you go. All right. Without further ado, by the way, there are some fun, and I mean really fun rant lines tonight that I pulled out of nowhere. Joe Namath is not a fan of Zach Wilson. We'll talk about that. Obviously, everyone wants to know my thought, and probably Heavy T's thought on the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce situation. Don't worry, that's coming too. And there's also, we're going to run through the injury report. And the Notre Dame coach, Marcus Freeman, is an absolute moron. More on that coming too. And of course, you know, I'm an Oregon fan. So, and you know how I've been talking about Colorado a lot. We will get into that as well. And then, I do want to talk about, it was on my list last week. I didn't get a chance, but we are coming up to NBA. And the Dame Lillard trade situation is actually becoming, and I mean real. I'll explain that as well. We're going to go over the AP poll. I'll give you my winners of losers of this week's college football. We will briefly look to some of the big matches for next week and give our picks. And also, what say ye, Heavy T? I have some questions I'm going to ask him about some of the games, see what he has to say. Case of the Mondays, he's doing Rants on the Street because Thomas Stevens is out again tonight. And then, as always, at the end, the eulogy for the Guillotine League, followed by a special shout out to somebody. So there you go. I don't know who the shout out to that someone's going to be this week. I could switch it up. You never know. So we're going to have a lot of fun. So without further ado, it's time for the Monday Night Rants. Rant Lines. I was excited about that one. We thought you were tanking for Caleb Williams. We did. It looked like it. Every aspect of what you did looked like you were tanking for Caleb Williams. But 3 weeks in now, 3 weeks in, yes, they're still 1-2. They're close to being 3-0. They're closer to being 3-0 than you think. The Arizona Cardinals absolutely, and I mean absolutely, outcoached, outplayed the Dallas Cowboys. They're not tanking for Caleb Williams. They're believing in this system. I kind of like what they're doing. Bring in young guys. Let them play. See what happens. See what talent you have. It's working out. I can't believe Joshua Dobbs has been playing as good as he has. Mike McCarthy's going to come out, some quote, say, yeah, well, we lost 3 of our offensive linemen or 4 of our offensive linemen. They've only been playing for a week in the starting. Yeah, so do the Houston Texans. They won against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mike McCarthy. We lost Trayvon Diggs. Yeah, Micah Parsons. Name somebody on the defense in the Arizona Cardinals who's a front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. I'm waiting. You were outcoached. You were outplayed. You lost. More on being outcoached and outplayed later when we talk about Colorado. But still, this team isn't tanking. I'm not going to say they're the real deal. They're not going to go over 500. I'm not getting ahead of ourselves. But there's now other teams in line. And I know who the favorite is in Heavy T's eyes. It starts with a C and rhymes with hairs. To get the first pick overall, and that could be the last we see. I'm not going to name names, but rhymes with heels. But it's there for anybody else is taking now. Because Arizona is actually playing competitive football each week for 3 weeks now. And they just beat the Dallas Cowboys, who, by the way, the first 2 weeks, they just probably wish they could just play the New York teams. And they outscore them like 70-10 in 2 weeks against the Giants and the Jets, and then lost by 12 to the Arizona Cardinals, which, by the way, they were a 12-point favorite in the game, Dallas. And I know a lot of people lost a lot of parlays on that last leg with that Dallas game. I just know it. It's a tough break, because it's like, oh, they have to win. All they do is win. Let's get hit that extra little over the top. Rough sauce. You know what's rough sauce? Losing because you're playing the Buffalo Bills defense in football. I hate fantasy football defenses. It's the dumbest thing. Half the people in the league literally draft the defense late about who they're playing week 1, and then it's a waiver scramble for everyone to drop and pick up the best one for the best matchup that week. Can we just get rid of defenses? I don't mind IDP. You want to play defense? Play IDP leagues. Actually play defenders. But there's no reason I should lose because someone has the Bills who magically scored like 40 points for defense 1 week. They're probably going to drop them and pick up someone else next week because they have a better matchup. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Don't get me started on kicker. At least the kicker is a solo person. One person who's a part of scoring for the offense. So that kind of makes more sense than a whole special teams defense. And by the way, kicking is a part of special teams. Yeah. I stand by the fact that I will support that every league get rid of defense unless you're playing IDP. That's fine. Team defense got to go, y'all. Not to mention that same team also had Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and I don't know, Mozart, I think. I lost by a lot more than than that. The team I played against scored like 240 points. Okay, it was insane. The best part about it is they started someone who was out. Maybe I have a case of the Mondays. Edward Raus, you have.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Sounds like somebody's got a
you
case of the Mondays.
Right, my fellow ranters? You get it. You get it. All right. But the biggest news of the weekend was not that. It wasn't the Dallas Cowboys losing. No. Even 70 points from the Miami Dolphins, which hasn't been done since 1966, and the most yards in an NFL game by one team in the common era, folks. We're not going back to whatever Chicago Bears quarterback was number 2 on the list 40 years ago, okay, 80 years ago, whatever. No. The Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift saga. What? That's all anyone was talking about. Everywhere. Every radio show this morning. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Here's what I got to say about this. I saw the videos of them walking afterwards. They weren't holding hands. They weren't actually walking very close to each other. Now, the story goes that he tried to slip her his number, slide into her DM, if I will. And she said no. Somehow he got a hold of her. I've heard they've been on 2 dates. It's casual. It's fake. They're not really dating in real life. But she was there with his mom. Yeah, she also has a movie coming out here soon. And with the writer's strike, even though that's looking like it's at an end, there's no movies coming out in theaters for the next 2 months. 0. Look it up. Give it a goog. None. She is going to dominate. Taylor Swift's live concert, not live, Taylor Swift's pre-recorded concert from Argentina is going to dominate the movie charts for the next 2 months. And probably even more now. And you know what else? So not only is her movie going to absolutely blow up, Travis Kelce jersey sales spiked 400% because of this. 400%. And it doesn't even look like they're anything but more than friends. I don't think they're actually dating. I think they're fake dating for the publicity and for money. Travis Kelce is all over the place now. He's on commercials. He's been on Tonight shows and Taylor Swift is literally the number 1, probably biggest celebrity in the world. It's crazy. 400% of people, of Swifties, all their the next show she does, where I think she's going to Japan or somewhere next, all those people in the crowd are going to be wearing Travis Kelce jerseys. It's going to be insane. That's what her life has come to. We're the number 1 story in sports over the weekend. After everything that happened, the big upsets, college football, Notre Dame coach not knowing how to count, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. This is our life now, Heavy T. This is our life. So more on that later, but yeah, that is insane. What else is insane is the Bears look terrible. And last week, Heavy T and I talked about, or we didn't talk, Heavy T yelled about, that the Bears have the worst quarterback room of all time in the history of the NFL. And I agreed after we went through everything. They do. I thought it was the Browns. I'm wrong. It is by far the Chicago Bears. So, I'm rooting for the Bears this next week. I am rooting for the Bears. I am going to be, woo, let's go Bears, but not to win the game. No. The Chicago Bears have allowed 25 or more points in 12 straight games going back to last season. They've allowed 25 or more points, 12 straight games going back to last season. The record holder for most times going over 25 points. It's 13 games. It could happen next week. In 1963 by the Broncos. The Broncos play the Bears next week. It's on you, Broncos. Let's keep that streak alive. for the Bears, so you're not the only team to ever give up 25-plus points in 13 straight games. That is insane, people. That is insane. There's your first of multiple Bear slanders tonight on Monday Night Rants, but I like that stat. Speaking of slander, Joe Namath had a lot to say about Zach Wilson over the weekend. A lot of us had a lot to say. The word he used, Joe Namath, on Zach Wilson. It's one word, 3 syllables. Disgusting. Ooh. He might as well came out and said,
"You are one pathetic loser."
That's right. When Joe Namath, who's literally the legend of the Jets, is calling you disgusting, and he's not talking about his whole mom thing. He's talking about his play, which we all agree. He is ineffective at quarterback. He's the lowest rated quarterback that qualifies over the last 2 years, 2.5 years. He is just not good. He came from BYU. He won some games at BYU. Had a pretty decent receiving core, but half of BYU's games are against inferior opponents. But I know, Edward, but Jordan Love played for Utah State. Well, it's Mountain West. He's going to play Boise State, Fresno State. And by the way, Utah State won the Mountain West that year, which was a bowl game, a good one. So, Trey Lance, we saw what happened to him. I guess you could count Desmond Ridder. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's a Power 5 conference with Desmond Ridder. I'll give him that. But more on that, on what say ye, Heavy T, later. So when Joe Namath is calling out your quarterback, something has to happen. So what do? Joe Flacco, he was actually not bad for them last year when he played, 2 games? There's options out there. You can trade for options. Tyler Heineke is an option. Jameis Winston was an option until Derek Carr got hurt. Jameis Winston would be a better starting quarterback for the Jets than Zach Wilson, I said. Andy Dalton would be a better starting quarterback for the Jets than Zach Wilson. Of course, Tyler Heineke. Shoot, Sam Howell! After his disgusting performance yesterday, would be a better quarterback in New York than Zach Wilson. So, speaking of Joe Namath and bad injuries, my boy, death taxes and this happening every year. It just happens to be worse this year for my Chargers. Mike Williams is officially, and I knew it was, when he was carted off, it had to be carted from the locker room to the bus or to go to the play. I knew it. Is an ACL tear for Mike Williams. But what did I tell you? What did I tell you they did this year? Quentin Johnson is a direct Mike Williams replacement. Joshua Palmer was drafted to be a direct Keenan Allen replacement. Now Quentin Johnson is a must-own in every fantasy league. Yeah. Because all those routes that Mike Williams would run, the down-the-field one-on-ones that Quentin Johnson can also win, he just fits right in. Now, I know he had a little case of the dropsies in preseason. But Quentin Johnson, this is his role. So here we are. So hopefully we either held on to him or you put a little bit of money on waivers because he's going to be a Mike Williams type. Now, he's going to split a little bit with Joshua Palmer, too. And Keenan Allen is still going to do his thing. Wow, Keenan Allen. 18 receptions. Like 2 games in a row now, Keenan Allen is a baller. It's a little bit tougher this next weekend for them, and I'll explain that later. But it's not... I feel bad for Mike Williams because he's such a gifted player and a great dude too, by the way. But he just, every year he has the injury. It's always been a shoulder where he'll miss half the season or some sort of leg. And this is the first time it's an ACL, I believe, which is his whole season. So this is, this not look good. But Mike Williams out for the year. Get your Quentin Johnson shares. If you don't already, I would take a flyer on Joshua Palmer as well. I think he's going to have a good rest of the season, which he filled in admirably last year when they were both hurt too. So there you go. Some other injuries you got to look at. Obviously, the Derek Carr injury, his shoulder. He's going to miss some time. I think Jameis Winston, and Good news for everybody is Alvin Kamara will be back this next week for the Saints, so there's that. But Jameis Winston will obviously be the quarterback for the next few weeks. It looks like it's just a sprained shoulder, nothing crazy. Won't have to go on the IR, but it's Jameis Winston. Now, Jameis Winston is going to sling the ball. It actually kind of helps the receivers because he throws it. He's no mercy. He's going to throw interceptions, but he's also going to sling the ball, which Andy Dalton did not do really last year. So he's a flyer on DFS, Jameis Winston, and cheap. But I wouldn't be too worried about Olave or Thomas. I'd just be worried about the turnovers if I were you as a Saints fan. Jimmy Garoppolo was reevaluated for a concussion, probably because he couldn't believe what his coach did. More on that later. He will probably be fine. Gus Edwards concussion. More concussions every week than I've ever seen. I think that they're just being more careful about them because of the whole and entire Tua situation last year. But Gus Edwards, he was literally the last man standing in that backfield. But Melvin Gordon could be a thing next week. It's going to be crazy. Or I would just, if you own Lamar Jackson, just play him because he's going to get all the rushing carries next week. Saquon Barkley, it looks like with the Giants playing Monday night, he could be returning. I like the sound of that. Aaron Jones looks like he's going to be a go this week at practice, and he will also return for the Packers, who desperately need him because A.J. Dillon has been terrible on the ground. But it looks like Aaron Jones could be back this Thursday, which would be crazy. It's possible. If not, then obviously the next week he will be back. But Aaron Jones did practice a little bit at the end of last week, so it looks like he'll be okay. David Montgomery was a weird one. It was a little bit it's a thigh injury. It was said it's a bruise. It's a little bit more. Jahmyr Gibbs had a pretty decent day with 80 yards and 17 carries, but he wasn't truly the explosive back we saw week one. They still got pulled off the win because they figured out that they just stopped the run. They could win that game. More on that later. But Montgomery, it remains to be seen, but it looks like he'll be coming back. And if not, this will be his last week being away. Talked about Mike Williams already. Waddle should be a good to go next week as well. Jonathan Mingo for the Panthers had another concussion. You just got to kind of wait and see how those are. It's just they're rough because they're either you're clear or you think you're clear, and then one little anything happens, the next thing you know, it's just not you miss a week. So we'll see how that plays out. And Christian Watson, it looks like he's finally going to be able to come back this Thursday as well. He's missed the last 3 weeks with that hamstring. He's been taking part in light practice for Green Bay, so look forward to him coming back because I have him in some leagues. And but those receivers have played. Jaden Reed's been good. Wicks out of nowhere has been pretty decent, and of course Romeo Doubs with a big touchdown over the weekend as well. When he put up the Jordan Love sign to the crowd at Lambeau, that was awesome. I know Heavy T loved it. Yes, indeed. We're going to talk about a lot of these college games later after Rants on the Street. So I'll let those kind of go. But I do want to talk about one before we go to a break here. And I'll talk about the Dame thing too before we go. We could run a little late to the break before we go to Rants on the Street. It's fine. It's Monday. We're having fun. 22-3, by the way. Philadelphia over the hype train for Baker Mayfield is over. Jalen Hurts has 2 interceptions, though, which is a little alarming. Only 186 yards passing, 1 touchdown. That touchdown was to, if you had him in your DFS showdowns, congratulations, Zacchaeus. That's right. Ex-Atlanta Falcon, I believe. Zacchaeus going strong there. Not a lot from Baker Mayfield. 87 yards and an interception on 10 of 19. Mike Evans only 2 for 13. Chris Godwin 2 for 25. Just a domination from the Eagles from a defensive standpoint here tonight. White has 11 rushes for 22 yards and 3 receptions for 24. That's it. That's all you got tonight. And that game looks like it's just going to kind of dwindle down to nothing here as the Eagles now have the ball back and are driving once more. The Rams were able to put another field goal on the board, so it is 6-3. Woo! Yeah. In case you were wondering. Matthew Stafford, 102, did throw an interception. Burrow, 109, 15 for 25. So he's throwing a lot of check down passes. 5 for 47 for Chase. So kind of coming back to life after 2 bad weeks. T. Higgins, 1 for 8. Ouch. Tyler Boyd, 4 for 29. You see a lot of just check downs here in these games so far, except for Philly, who's playing on a little bit of an offensive show. So There you have it. All right. Speaking of a non-offensive show, the Ohio State game against Notre Dame, where Notre Dame was literally up the entire game on Saturday night. And it was a game to be seen, to behold, if you will. However, the coach of Notre Dame made a little bit of a mistake. Not once, but twice. Now, he did come out and he took ownership and said, we won't let it happen again. By the way, this is something that shouldn't even happen in the first place. I've never seen it in any type of level of football ever. And of course, the last play of the game, Ohio State was able to run in for a 1-yard touchdown to win it. And all glory, Ohio State. Yes, beat Notre Dame, even though Notre Dame should have won the game. We predicted they would probably win the game. It was close, but that's how the cookie crumbled. However, not one, but 2 plays the Notre Dame defense only had, and they didn't get a red card, 10 men on the field. What? That's right. Marcus Freeman and his coaches could not count, or the players could not count the men on the field, and the last 2 plays of the game only had 10 men. Remember, you are allowed 11. And yes, there's a penalty for 12, but not for 10. Now, they could have ran someone on after they were set, but they would have gotten a 5-yard penalty. But at least it would have been half the distance to the goal, and they would have at least had enough personnel to cover personnel. Not good. Not good. Once it's like, okay, I get it. But twice, and then to lose on it? Who knows if that other linebacker would have made a difference, or that other safety, or whoever was missing both times. And where was that guy? What was he doing? Getting a Snickers? Maybe he was hungry? I don't know. Where was he? Where are the coaches? Isn't it someone's job to count? I don't get it. It's the biggest game of your season. A chance to actually show we're the best Notre Dame team that we've been since the dude that got catfished. Google. Give it a Google. There's a documentary on it. Come on, man. Once is okay. Mistake. But twice. To lose the game like that. Ugh. We got some fellow ranchers in the chatters here. Josh Gillum says, man, Burrow looks awful. Yeah, he could not move laterally. He can't go left or right. Wait, Tavares says, what era are we in when Taylor Swift spikes Kelce sales? Welcome to 2023, my friend. Tay-Tay was in the popcorn machine. I don't even know what that. You got some. Apparently we got some Swifties here. We all wish we had some Puka Nakua doing his thing once more. Well, good luck, Josh. I hope you don't have to play Burrow tonight in any type of form, because he does look like he cannot move left or right. He's just staying in the pocket and throwing short checkdowns, which luckily for him, every receiver except for T. Higgins is good at that. So he should have a pretty decent finish here. Before we go to break, one more thing I got to say. I'm going to go to the NBA for a second, and I'm going to say this tonight. I'm going to say it loud before we get to more NBA as it starts coming up next month, is Dame Lillard is going to be traded. It's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, but nobody's talking about it because NFL has started. Got me some Burrow and best ball. Oh, Josh, I'm sorry, my friend. Villanova fan, huh? Shout out. Philadelphia. It looks like he's going to be traded, and I'd say within 7 days. Now, where's he going to go? I don't think it's going to be the Heat. There's rumors that the Toronto Raptors are going to be a player. That would be interesting. The Raptors have the players. They could give him OG to be right off the way. Boom. That's a trade I would do if I was the Portland Timbers. The Portland Blazers. Sorry, I got MLS confused with basketball. Man, we got to get to basketball quick, Heavy T. It's killing me. So Raptors would be an interesting one. The Knicks obviously would be an interesting one. Obviously, the 76ers would be very interesting. So I think he's getting traded. I think he's going to the East. It's going to change some things there in the East, which is already getting stronger and stronger and stronger than the less dominant self they were over the last 10 years. I like to see it. Plus, the Blazers believe in their young rook. They do. So we'll see what happens there. But I think the Toronto Raptors would give him the best package back to make the Blazers relevant still. So look at that. And if I call that, and I say the Raptors are maybe the favorite, would be interesting to say the least. But I'm hearing rumors and rumblings. All right, my fellow ranters, we'll check in on these games. We'll go to a quick commercial break. Not commercial. We don't do commercials here. This is like Red Zone commercial break. Ugh, what am I saying? We're going to a quick break so you can watch more great entertainment on @Better Network and all your favorite social media platforms. We don't do commercials here, as Scott Hansen would say. Shout out to Manti Te'o. We'll see you after break for Rants on the Street with Heavy T. Boom.
The Bears have to be one of the most inept franchises of any sport I've ever seen in my entire life. And they share the city with the White Sox, who are also inept. Like, that is how bad the Bears are. I just don't understand how you can go your entire existence and the quarterback that wins you a Super Bowl is Jim McMahon. You couldn't find anybody else.
They don't have a good history with quarterbacks, but they let him be the quarterback for a long time, too.
Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes right there. Mm-hmm. And you drafted Mitch Trubisky. They were right there. I there's a lot of pain in being a Falcons fan. The Bears are one of the teams I could argue they might have it worse, and they have a Super Bowl. And when the best quarterback in the past 50 years is Jay Cutler, you have a problem.
That's so funny that you just said that. We were talking about Jay Cutler the other day, me and my friend, and I was like, yeah, he was on, because we were watching the Colorado Rockies game against the Giants, and it looked like he was behind the thing. I was, yeah, well, he played for Denver most of his career. We looked it up. Chicago let him be their starting quarterback way too long.
Here's the thing, too, is that Jay Cutler wasn't bad. Like, he was erratic. He wasn't terrible, though.
The poor man's Brett Favre.
I'm taking him over Justin Fields. I'm sorry.
I would.
But Jay Cutler led that team to an NFC title game.
Yeah.
That they lost to Green Bay. But he's gotten farther than anybody else. You want to know who the other starting quarterback was for the Bears in the other Super Bowl appearance they made? It was Rex Grossman. What are we doing out here? It was Rex Grossman and Kyle Orton was the backup. How are you that bad? Bro, like, oh my God. Listen to the top 5. According to Football Reference, the top 5 greatest Bears quarterbacks of all time. Jay Cutler, number 1.
I can't believe it.
Sid Luckman, who last played in 1950, is number 2. Jim Harbaugh is number 3. Jim McMahon, the Super Bowl winner, is number 4, and he played there for 6 years. And Mitch Trubisky, is number 5 on the list as terms of passing yards go.
Oh. Welcome back to Monday Night Rants. I don't know what's going on there with the music, but that's hilarious. By the way, that picture of the Bears quarterback from like 1930 or whatever, they didn't have that like big pads back then. He was just that big. Like, that's absolutely, and I mean absolutely insane. But yeah, shout out to Heavy T on his findings that the Bears do have, and I mean do have the worst quarterback room of the history of any franchise in the NFL when Mitch Trubisky is your number 5. Woo! Not good, to say the least. But let's bring on the man, the myth, the legend. Tyler Heavy T. Soto. He's filling in tonight for Thomas Stevens for Rants on the Street, but always doing his segment at the end where we go, what say ye, Heavy T?
Yes, we are. What say I? That's all I got, because I doesn't rhyme with T. So what say I? Oh man, and I am getting. You know what? Before I come on, I would like to.
You're already on, but all right.
well, before I start,
okay.
I am getting absolutely screwed by AJ Brown. This dude has dropped. This dude has dropped 2 touchdowns.
Oh, has he?
I am fighting for my life. I think I'm down by 2. I went into the Monday Night Football up 24, but the guy I'm playing has the Eagles defense and Puka Nakua. So, and
he was on pace for 8 receptions already.
Exactly. And I have AJ Brown. AJ Brown has absolutely screwed me this game.
But he has 7 receptions for 102. I mean,
he should have 2 touchdowns. He's dropped both touchdown passes. And it's not like they were bad passes either. He just straight up dropped them.
And
I'm like, dude.
The funniest thing I just saw while we were on that break, and I was laughing at that Bears slander, was they tried the Philadelphia play with the quarterback sneak on 3rd and goal.
Yeah.
Where, they just pretty much push him in, and there's it's unstoppable, except they did a fake of it, and he ended up getting sacked. Just do the play that no one can stop. What are you doing?
Stick to the hits, man.
Jeez.
It's that play should honestly be outlawed. I don't know how it's still in the league.
I don't know why not more teams are still are doing it. I still don't.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is why is no one else doing it? Like that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. There's, do you know who could have done that? Probably the Raiders last night. Probably.
More on that later, but yes,
they could have done a lot of things, but their team's a disaster. Jeez Louise.
Let's just say the Raiders once again have made Case of the Mondays. Well, not just the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
My boy Josh McDaniels made Case of the Mondays.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyways, and there's Mike. See, here's the thing that'll help me too. If the Bucs score, it'll take that Philly defensive score down a bit.
Would you take a 24-yard catch from Mike Evans right now to go?
I am fine with that. Any little bit helps. If the Bucs can get to 17, I might have a shot.
So you're saying you don't want the Buck to stop here?
Yes.
Okay. I had to. Sorry, I had to. We do dad jokes here, Josh Gillum. Just give us a break.
Okay? Yes. Show for dad jokes. Anyways,
the Bears need to get back to their roots and build a top defense. Maybe they should actually focus on getting a good offense for once, because it's always defense doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Oh, that was an amazing catch by Mike Evans, one of those underrated receivers ever.
It's nobody. Mike Williams will not be catching passes this year.
Oh no, Mike Williams, you're done, dude. You're done.
Yeah.
So unfortunate, but it is what it is. But yeah, I do have 5 questions for you, and I will be honest. One of them is bear slander.
Cool.
Somewhat.
Can you play a game? Where is Thomas Stevens?
Ooh,
why is he not here tonight? Why is he not here?
He lives in Orange County. I feel like he doesn't travel that much. I'm gonna say he traveled a little bit. I'm gonna say he went to San Diego.
No, you are wrong, my friend.
Ah, damn. Where is he?
Disneyland.
See, that was my second. Oh, dude, that was my second.
Although he does actually have a really good reason, and I knew this was coming. It was for his family. It's for something really special and important to him. So,
okay, cool.
Out to him. It's just funny that he hasn't gone to Disneyland. He said since he was a kid. And all of a sudden, within the span of a year, he's gone twice. So,
I'm going in about a month with family. So, and it'll be one of the last times we can all really go, because one of my brothers is going to be moving out of state right after.
Ooh, which state?
So it's kind of weird. So he's engaged. He's moving to Cleveland for a little bit. And then after the wedding, him and his fiance are moving to Colorado.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah, so it'd be pretty cool.
He's good at least their basketball team there is good in Colorado. So
he does not care about sports, so he's good.
Then he doesn't care.
He does not give. He doesn't give a flying F about sports. It's funny, but it's funny, and I'll leave it at this real quick. He doesn't care about sports, but the Colorado game, he was texting me. He's like, "This game is insane," and I'm like, "That's how I know that Deion's bringing the people together." By the way, you heard it here first. I said it last week. I will say it again. The Trojans are losing to the Buffaloes next Saturday in Boulder. Deion will beat USC. And that's going to come true if you stayed up late for Pac-12 After Dark and saw that atrocious USC win over Arizona State. That was an ugly win.
Arizona State just got blanketed and dominated by Fresno State too.
Yeah, USC is, I've said it once and I'll say it again, their defense is not good.
Well,
the other thing too is they had weird fumbling issues.
They're no longer the number 1 team in the Pac-12. More on that later. Someone has jumped them.
I'm not surprised. I'm pretty sure.
And it's not Oregon.
I'm not surprised.
And it's not Oregon.
I know exactly who it is. Yeah. I'm not surprised. So good for them. I'd really like the Bucs to score here.
It's a 2nd and goal on the 1.
I'm fine with that. Well, you're a little bit ahead of me then.
Oh, I have the split screen going on here. we're at halftime, 6-6, and then Jesus Christ, the Rams Bengals game. But yeah, it's first and goal. But I have the stat tracker in front of me so I can see it.
Gotcha.
He's predicting a white touchdown right now. You think a white touchdown happens?
Hey, white touchdown, Evans touchdown. I do not care. Baker Mayfield could run it. Do the fumble, Ruski. Get the ball in the damn end zone. Okay, that's all I ask. Just get the ball in the end zone.
He's just going to force feed jump balls to Mike Evans, all 3 throws. I know it.
I'm fine with this. More than fine with this. I just need the Bucs to score. I need that defense to totally come down. Anyways, like I said, I have 5 questions for you.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We need
we're running out of time. So we go.
So we will keep I will be honest, 2 of them are football. Only 2 of them. Okay. 3 of them are baseball related, and we'll keep 2.
It's the last week of baseball, right?
Yes, it is.
And good. Shout out to the Padres for waiting until when it was just too late to go on a historical run.
Yeah, love that.
And probably have the Cy Young Award winner on your team who's actually pitching in about 15 minutes right now against the Giants. Yeah, insane. I just can't believe my team. I just blows me. Anyways, yeah, let's go. Number 1.
So I will admit that one of the questions,
Mike Evans touchdown on.
Yes, let's go. I will admit that one of the football questions is something you brought up already. So we're going to still ask it. We're going to ask it in a slightly different way.
Okay.
But we will get to that. We're going to say that one for last. But the first question, let's talk about some of the playoff races right now. As you know, like the playoff race for the NL wild card is really hot. Mm-hmm. So is the AL wild card. I think the hottest race is probably the AL West between Seattle, Houston, and Texas. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you this. I want your honest opinion. And I also found this stat from, I believe it was Fox on MLB. So thank you to them. Is this the year the Astros finally miss the ALCS? Because they made it 6 years in a row. Is this the year they finally miss the ALCS? And do they miss the playoffs altogether? So here are the current odds real quick for the American League. You have the Orioles plus 700 to win the World Series, the Rays plus 1100.
That's right.
And the Astros are plus 13. Plus 1300, not plus 13.
I could still see an ALCS of the Rays Astros. I mean, what killed the Astros was the pitching, the injuries, really.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you got Verlander back, but he's not the same Verlander he was, and that's showing. So I don't know. I think they make it. I'm still not sold on the Rangers, even though they're the team in first right now, though, right? With a week to go, like by a game or
I think they're the team in first, and that's also because the Astros have been slumping hard.
Yeah,
but I believe Texas just played Seattle. I want to say they play Houston and Seattle again this week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Seattle. I think Seattle and Houston get in. One of them wins, and then the other one sneaks in. This Texas team, I don't know. I just don't think they're ready for this. Maybe in like next year or 2 years. But Bruce Bochy does the weirdest things with teams that should not be good, and finds ways to make them good. He took the Padres to a World Series. Let's not forget, and that team wasn't that good. They weren't. Yeah, they had Tony Gwynn and. They weren't that good. They shouldn't have been going to the World Series, and they did. And he took the Giants there 3 times. So,
was he real? Was he the manager of the '98 Padres?
Yes, sir.
Wow, I did not know that. That's some history right there. Like, I knew he was the manager of the Padres, but I thought that was like in the mid 2000s. I had no idea.
Nope,
that he was all the way back in '98.
Bochy,
good for him.
Like I said, he finds a way to bring the best out of teams. What if I was the A's? I'd hire him.
If I was the Angels, I'd hire him. But Artie would probably still find another way to screw it up.
Yes,
so, hey, you know what? That's funny that I actually just bring that up. I didn't even mean to, but it leads perfectly into my second question because it is Angels related.
Oh God!
So I'm sure you've heard the news that the Angels will trade Trout, or pretty much will trade him if he asks for it.
I don't think he's going to ask for it.
And he spoke a little bit today, and he said he's focused on basically wearing an Angels uniform next spring training.
Yeah,
which he shouldn't. Get the hell out of here. Not because I don't want you out of here, but because this team sucks and you need to get out of here.
Yeah, but he can't stay healthy though at all.
No, I guarantee you, this dude will go somewhere else and be healthy the entire season because his training staff is they're qualified to put on a Band-Aid.
Win MVP.
Yeah, like he'll go somewhere else and he'll completely rip the league apart like he used to. It's so stupid. I can already see it now. But so that is my question. So will Trout be traded number 1? And if so, where to? And on top of that, will Ohtani come back? And if not, where does he go?
Yeah. You could kiss Ohtani goodbye. He's not coming back. And
he's right here in bobblehead form. Goodbye, son.
Okay. yeah, that the whole thing too, like right when he had the injury and reports that his locker was already cleaned out, and it's just not good. That's not good. I don't think Ohtani's coming back. You should have traded him now that you look back at it, but you were in the running for the first half of the season, right? So I understand why you didn't, but you could have gotten at least something because now you're getting nothing.
The funny thing with that is that a report came out that the GM, Perry Manasian, was actively trying to trade Ohtani at the deadline. And then good old stupid ass Artie came in, overrode him, and did the trades himself for Giolito and those White Sox and
that worked
whoever else they got. Like, oh, God damn it, Artie.
We're not even going to get through 5 questions. We're just going to slander all the Angels now.
Oh, God. Anyways, okay, so
it is called Rants, not Monday Night Questions. So I guess
it's true. So Ohtani's gone. Trout, does he get traded? And if so, where does he go?
By the way, where Ohtani goes, I hate to say it, but I think the Dodgers. I just think they're all in on that basket. They're going to put all the money in there and that's the one thing they need is pitching too. But wait,
I think it's one of.
I think he's not going to pitch next year though, right? He's going to.
No. He wouldn't pitch next year because he had the surgery on his elbow.
So that we'll see there. But that kind of changes things a little bit. But
yeah, I think honestly he goes to either the Dodgers or he goes to the Mariners because I've mentioned the Mariners and people kind of like push them aside, but the Mariners have like that. They have a little bit of that Japanese lineage with Ichiro, so he could immediately be another Japanese legend right there. And Seattle's a little closer to Japan than LA is, so I could see him going to Seattle.
Okay. If that's your basis of that, okay.
Hey, it's the reason why he's not playing in New York or Boston. I'll tell you that much right now. So, and you know what? That didn't even need to mention them, but that just came up as well.
I could see Trout in pinstripes.
Which ones?
Yankees.
No.
I think they finally find a way to just get rid of Giancarlo Stanton, who's, by the way...
No! That's even worse! I don't want Stanton!
Yeah, I'm saying it. And Trout goes to the Yankees. And
that would be
Trout already clean shaves all the time, so he doesn't have to worry about that.
Oh,
he's already there.
That dumb rule.
Like, there you go. So...
Oh, man. I'll tell you what. That leans perfectly.
I can see Trout in Boston, too, actually.
Oh, God. That leads perfectly into the next question.
Okay.
Will the Yankees bring back both Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone next season, or are they gone?
Boone should have been gone a while ago, in my opinion. I'm not going to like... Boone should
have been gone at least like 2 years ago.
He's not a good baseball coach. He's just not. I'm sorry. He's... Yeah, they need to go somewhere else there. Cashman will probably come back because he could just blame it on injuries and whatnot. And like, how long was Aaron Judge out for this year? And what they missed the playoffs this year, and everyone in New York is so sad. Oh, playoffs aren't the same when the Yankees are in it. There's other teams in baseball, people. Give Seattle a chance. Give the Rangers a chance. Like, there's other teams. The Arizona Diamondbacks are fighting for the playoffs. Like, there's other teams out there than the Yankees. But I know. New York. But he'll get the benefit of the doubt. But Boone is not. He time and time again, he makes terrible pitching changes, terrible decisions. I just don't see him coming back. I mean, he's gone. I think Cashman stays, Boone's gone.
Okay. That's a good one. I like that. Question number 4, because we're a little short on time.
Okay.
After seeing how bad the Bears are.
Oh God, here we go. Here we go, people. Bad. Here we go. And all of a sudden you said Bears and the viewership just went up.
That's hilarious.
Because we're about to yell.
They want Bears talk. So not about to yell just yet. This question isn't necessarily about the Bears.
Okay.
But after seeing how bad the Bears are, if they earn the number 1 pick, and right now it's them and Denver in line for it. They have 1 and 2.
I know what you're asking, and yes.
If they earn the number 1 pick.
Yes.
I'm curious. What do you think I'm asking? I'm very curious.
If they take Caleb Williams, the answer is yes.
No.
Okay, wow.
That is not the question.
Interesting. All right.
After seeing how bad the Bears are, if they earn the number 1 pick, should Caleb Williams do what his dad said he would do and go back to school for another season?
You tricked me, Heavy T. You tricked me.
I did, just a little bit.
And the answer is
hell yeah.
Completely agree. Completely agree.
And I'll be honest with you, if I'm Caleb Williams right now, and I've seen what this Arizona Cardinals team is doing with their young receiver too, Michael Wilson, who we've talked high on this show, the coach is putting them in opportunities to win, right?
Yeah.
He may not. I think he may his dad or whatever may change his tune. That now it's if the Cardinals get it, sure, why not? But if the Bears get it, nah, man, I'm coming back.
I mean,
I want to go play in the Big Ten next year.
There's 2 other interesting teams. Denver is 1, but because they're also 0-3. But the question is, what do you do with Russell Wilson? Because he has that contract.
Well, we've been asking that for a year and a half now, my friend.
The second team is a little more interesting, and that is the Minnesota Vikings.
Vikings, yes.
That Kirk Cousins is a free agent at the end of the season. He would leave. Just insert Caleb Williams right there, and he wouldn't even be playing in the cold. He'd be playing at home in the dome. That's an interesting little fit. So him, Justin Jefferson, his former teammate Jordan Addison.
He would go to the NFL if the Vikings had the first pick. I don't think it's going to happen, but if they did, he would go to the NFL to be on the Vikings. 100%.
Yeah.
What's crazy is the Vikings last year are 11-0 in one-score games. This year they're 0-3 in one-score games, and they're 0-3 in the NFL.
Oh, I could have told you that, dude. Luck is just an absolutely cruel mistress.
We've been saying that about the Vikings pretty much all off season.
Been saying it all off season.
And the way they ended the game against the Chargers was so Vikings. Like the Chargers are going to Charger, the Raiders are going to Raider, and now we can officially say the Vikings are going to Viking.
So we'll get back to that because it is a miracle.
Later,
it's a miracle that the Chargers won because Brandon Staley did one of the dumbest things I think I've ever seen. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Well,
the last question is something that you brought up. So I was originally going to ask you about the backup for Zach Wilson, like what should they do, blah, blah, blah. And I was going to actually mention the fact that Joe Namath blasted Zach Wilson.
He blasted the man.
So I'll tell you what, instead of asking about Joe Namath or about like what the Jets will do with Zach Wilson, I'm going to ask you, do you believe in the curse of Joe Namath? Now, before you say anything, there is a theory out there.
Okay.
You wind the clock back to 1969, Super Bowl III. Joe Namath we're going to win the game, I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
There are people out there, and I will admit, I am one of these people. There are people out there that full on believe that Joe Namath sold his soul to the devil and said, devil, if you let me win this Super Bowl, the Jets don't have to win anything for as long as I'm alive. And the Jets have not won anything for as long as that man has been alive. I guarantee you, the second he croaks, they're Super Bowl champions. There's no other way to explain it. Do you believe in the curse of Joe Namath?
So you're saying Zach Wilson's going to put a hit on him is what you're saying.
It's possible. But, I mean, how else can you explain bringing in one of the greatest quarterbacks of this century and of all time, and 4 plays in, this dude rips his Achilles? Nah, dude, that's cursed. That's cursed right there.
Dude, his highlight video of him as a Jet is actually him running in with the American flag. Like that is
him running with the American flag. Great highlight, by the way. But
that's great.
Not the point. Like that is his one. That's the theory I believe in. If there's one theory I believe in, it's that one. Do you believe in the curse of Joe Namath?
You kind of have to, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. You kind of have to.
And
there's nothing else.
Like one of those guys too, who's like into some like, secret cults type stuff.
The 60s were a wild time, man. Everyone's loving everybody. The Beatles were a thing. The Jets out here winning Super Bowls. Like the 60s were wild, bro. We put a man on the moon. Like
allegedly,
it was. Yeah, allegedly Vietnam was a thing then.
Dude, we just went all Alex Jones on everyone in the last 5 minutes. Like, come on.
about to bring out my tinfoil hat, but no, Joe Namath, I'm 100% convinced this man sold his soul to the devil to win that title. There's no other explanation.
I'm gonna agree.
Good. I'll make a truther out of you yet. While we're on the topic, before we go to break, people, the Loch Ness Monster is a real thing. Okay, we're just throwing that out there.
And aliens are real.
That I'm like halvesies on that one. We'll come back. Another show. That's for another show. Maybe we'll make that our Halloween special or something like that. We'll figure it out. But yeah, no, Joe Namath, you going to hell, bro. just because you sold your soul, you going to hell, my guy.
Love it, man. Thank you. Well, if obviously the Joe Namath question would definitely win a hoodie tonight. So shout out to that.
Shout out to me winning my own hoodie.
You winning your own hoodie, yes. Love that question. That was fun. I love the way you I thought I knew where you were going, and you just completely went the other direction or something totally different. But,
yeah, did Joe Namath actually speak to Satan?
So here's what we ended up with. Yeah, here's what we ended up with after all these questions, right?
Oh man.
Caleb Williams is going to the Vikings. Joe Namath has cursed the Jets. You never know where we're going to go here on Monday Night Rants.
It's a beautiful show.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. You want to come back on and talk college football too?
Yeah, let's stick around. Let's do it.
All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go into college football and more Colts and curses and tinfoil hats, especially if you're a Notre Dame fan, which I talked about earlier. I'm sorry. And especially if you thought that Colorado actually had a chance to go to the college football playoff. After the break, we go into some college football and a little bit of check-ins here on the games. Monday Night Football. Boom.
Jake Ferguson, I think, is going to be one of the biggest frauds in fantasy, to be honest. I'm trading Jake Ferguson in Dynasty for anything right now. I'm trading him in redraft if somebody will take him. He scored the touchdown on a 1-yard play this week, but this guy, last week, he played 75% of the snaps, only ran 50% of the routes. This week, we were hoping that would change. He only ran 21 of 43. Not even half again. So we were hoping it would improve from 50, worse than 50. So Jake Ferguson, not the guy we want. And you saw it. I mean, if you watch the game, they weren't locked in on anybody. They had Hayden Hendershot out there, got a goal line carry. Luke Schoonmaker, the rookie, scored a touchdown. Like, they are not committed to just one tight end. And if you have CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and Brandon Cooks and Tony Pollard, if the tight end isn't playing every single snap, then he's not relevant. I mean, even if the one guy was playing every snap, you're not going to get a Dalton Schultz because there was no Brandon Cooks last year, and Michael Gallup was coming off an ACL. So the conditions changed, and now this guy's playing a partial snap share. Sell Jake Ferguson now. And people tell me, oh, Dak Prescott loves throwing the tight end. That's not even true. There was a guy on Reddit that just posted a study. His name is, like, I Call Cats or something like that. Great study, though, that showed that Dak Prescott doesn't target the tight end on an above average level. I mean, CeeDee Lamb got 156 targets last year. 156. And Michael Gallup and Noah Brown combined for 150. So, and the running backs combined for 85. So what is it? Does he love the tight end, but he also loves CeeDee Lamb, and he also loves the other wide receivers, and he also loves the running backs? Or just Kellen Moore just throw the ball a ton? That's what it was, right? So it's like this whole he loves the tight end situation, that's not even true, right? Or he just loves everybody. Maybe he does love the tight end, but clearly he loves CeeDee Lamb. No, like clearly he loves the running backs. So just don't worry about it. Forget about it. Trade Jake Ferguson for whatever you can get right now.
It's like the remix version, Heavy T. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Monday Night Rants. Man, I blink for 1 second, and DeAndre Swift has 16 carries for 130 yards rushing. Talk about a trade that worked out for both teams right there. That is crazy. So DeAndre Swift looks like the real deal. However, Kenneth Gainwell still had 12 carries for 37. So he's not exactly the sole leader of the backfield, but that's 2 weeks in a row where Swift has looked impressive. And people and suckers like me last year who drafted him in the first round last year, who stayed away from him this year because I said, all right, doing this again. Ouch. But, you know, and by the way, shout out to AJ Brown who caught another pass. He's at 127. You should be safe.
Give me 1 second on that. I am. It's still iffy. So I'm currently winning 144.78 to 137.66.
Ooh.
That Tampa touchdown definitely did help, but I need AJ Brown to get garbage catches basically right now because he still has Puka Nacua, and that makes me worried. I am scared.
2-minute warning. The Buccaneers have 2 timeouts, and the Eagles are in field goal range at 2nd and 8. So looks like they're going to just run it out with Swift here to end the game. So that would probably be the end of the night, if by play script. And they actually have a good coach and not Josh McDaniels, so you don't have to worry about some crazy stuff happening. So I think that's pretty much the way it's gonna roll there. And also the Rams now in the red zone driving at the 6-6 game. Kyron Williams has finally made an appearance. Puka, though, has been quiet. 4 for 35. Tyler Higbee actually has 4 for 56 here. And Williams, 31 yards rushing. There goes Stafford throwing it to Kyron Williams, who dropped it and almost intercepted. So it looks like we're at a 3rd down, maybe a field goal here for the Rams. So still going. We do have a eulogy officially without anyone getting hurt, which is cool. Finally. I don't feel so bad.
Yeah.
Jeez. So that'll be fun later. So shout out to West of PCH, who will give you your condolences in a little bit. So there you go. Before we move into the AP poll and some college football news and notes of winners and losers and going over some of the big games for next week, we did pretty decent on our picks going back to it. I think we split them, but they were close.
Yeah, they were close. So my other job, I work at FanDuel. I work in their graphics department, which is a fun job, by the way. But
not as fun as Monday Night Rants, though, obviously.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. But we have this thing in the office where we basically each make our own picks. Now, we live in California, so we can't bet on any of them, which sucks.
Yeah.
But so we each make our own picks, like in the office. And so I created Tyler's Locks. One of the 3 hit.
You did not create a segment called Tyler's Locks.
No, not now. Only one of the 4 locks I had hit because Notre Dame absolutely screwed me. That was one of the locks, was the Notre Dame upset, the money line.
Did you ever see a coach put a defense out there twice in a row with only 10 players?
No, that's wild. Like, what are you doing? And that was coming out of a timeout, too. I'm pretty sure that first play.
No, the first one, and then there was a timeout, and then 10 people went out there again.
Just what do you do?
And they lost. It's
Notre Dame absolutely screwed me on that one. I was so pissed. But the other ones I had, I should know better than to ever trust Lane Kiffin because I had Mississippi +7.
Yeah, I was with you. That was one of my bets, my big ones of the week too.
Because Jackson Dart could do it, but Lane Kiffin just sucks.
Yeah,
so,
if it was ever his year to beat Alabama, like this is like the worst Alabama team probably of the history of Saban. Dude, that one interception from Milton, it was their offense was bad again. It's just their defense just does enough, right? It's just, but eventually they're going to run into some powerhouses here that have better offenses, and that will, it'll.
They have Mississippi State this week. I don't think that's a win. The interesting one that could be a sleeper upset, they're at Texas A&M next weekend.
Ooh.
So that's interesting. College Station always gets a little bit rowdy.
Mm-hmm.
That stupid rebel yell thing that they do. That thing is so dumb. So dumb.
It's not the best.
But yeah, that could be an interesting little sleeper upset right there.
I like it.
Honestly, yeah.
We'll go into the review of the big games next week. We'll get into that. That'll be one of our picks. But we crushed the Oregon bet. Like that was like the most
dude,
all time.
Come
on. At halftime, that game was over.
I'm going to be honest with you, and I swear I mean this. I thought that game was over after the first drive. It was like Oregon
they went right down the field. Yeah,
knife through butter, like just no defense whatsoever.
It was 31-0 at the half, and Colorado had 29 total yards at halftime.
Yeah,
they ended up with 190 yards. 170 of those being garbage time yards.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because it's really funny because I think it was ESPN or Sports Center, one of the two on Instagram, and they those pages really annoy me. I honestly don't know why I follow them. They really annoy me because they're like, oh, people were stunned that Colorado got blown out. I'm like, were they? Like, anyone who really knows college football knows that they didn't have a chance in hell to win that game. Like, stop it. Now, I will admit, whatever the final score was, maybe I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but I think the spread was Oregon 21.
It was 20
minus 21, minus 20 and a half. I knew they were going to cover that. That was easy.
Yeah.
That's
easy. And again, they did it halfway through the second quarter.
Yeah, dude, that thing was over.
Every drive, Bo Nix just it was insane. He was just like, okay, we're going to throw here. We're going to run here. Like, he just had the whole offense, knew exactly what they're doing. They were outcoached, outplayed.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything.
And you know what? One other thing on that note, Bo Nix, get out of college already. Jeez, man.
Well, he has to. Like, this is last year.
So. I know he has to, but these dudes like Stetson Bennett, just 7 years in college. Get the hell out of college.
Baby, COVID.
God,
what's
COVID
crazy,
should give you 1 year.
Stetson Bennett was a redshirt. Bo Nix played as a true freshman. Started his first ever game in college was Auburn against Oregon, and he was the quarterback for Auburn.
He played Justin Herbert,
and he upset Oregon in that game.
Yeah, Justin Herbert's been in the league, 4 years now? Bo Nix, get the hell out of college.
Yeah.
My God, dude. And that's another thing, too. Bo Nix, Auburn, beats Oregon, so he beats him, and now he joins them? Like, oh, my God, dude, just go away.
I think it gets worse. I don't think Justin Herbert was that quarterback. I think it was the year before Justin Herbert. Actually, I'm not going to lie. I think that's how long he's been.
I'd have to double check, but I think that was the stat I saw is that.
No, I think that was the Eastern Washington transfer, who's now a Canadian football star.
Good for him.
Played for 1 year, was the quarterback for Oregon at that time. I think maybe that was the Michigan State. I don't think it was Herbert. Maybe it was. Maybe I'm wrong. But
Bo Nix, future star of the XFL. That's where we're at with this thing.
Yeah, but why not stay? You have like one of the best teams Oregon's had in years. Even with Herbert, they've never had a team as good as this. They've had the best recruiting class on the West Coast in the last 3 years of any team, even USC. Their head coach finally wants to stay there because he, didn't go to Miami or Florida State. Like, he went to community college, so he's not going to go coach them. So he's not going to leave and go coach somewhere else. Like, and he's defensive minded, and this Oregon defense is really good. And there's a lot of great players on there. Dolis, the offense, they have a future NFL wide receiver on their team in Franklin as well, by the way, who will be drafted in the first 2 rounds of the NFL. They got a three-headed monster running back, a great offensive line. The only team that scares me, I'm not even scared of USC anymore when it comes to Oregon. The only team that scares me is Washington.
Yeah, and I'm assuming they are the highest ranked.
But still no Pac-12 team in the top 4.
That's fine. I need to pull up to see.
That's a good segue. That's a good segue. So we'll go into the AP poll here. But
Washington has played real quick. Boise State, Tulsa, Michigan State, Cal. So I mean, that's why they haven't put them in the top 4 yet. Is because their argument is they haven't played anybody.
Well, Boise State had high expectations this year, as they always do. And they've ended up being terrible though.
The schedule for the second half of Washington
it's kind of rough.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
So you have Arizona this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
After that, they have a week off. Then they're at home against Oregon. And then they have Arizona State, Stanford. And then the last 4 games at USC, at home against Utah, at Oregon State for the last Civil War. So Oregon State's going to play hard. And then at home versus Washington State. All 4 of those teams ranked.
The Apple Cup last,
Yeah, that second half schedule is brutal.
And even though Washington State had a really good game, by the way, surprisingly beat Oregon State, who I thought would win. Oregon State, even though they lost, still stayed in the top 25.
I did say that game was a coin flip, so
yeah,
I was right on that.
But it was a close one. It was a great game too. After dark, one of those after dark games.
I was not watch that because I was watching USC absolutely crap the bed against Arizona State.
Colorado did drop out of the top 25 though, so the Pac-12 now has 1 less, and also UCLA did drop out as well. So 2 of the 8. So now we only have 6 for the
No,
Pac-12.
we'll have a 7 after this weekend because Colorado's about to jump back in. Just saying, we'll have 7 after this.
Even
weekend.
with that embarrassing win that you call for USC, they did lose 3 spots from 5 to 8 with
That's
Florida
fine.
State after an overtime win against Clemson.
You should not be giving up long passes to some dude named Skittleboo or whatever the hell his name was. Like, I that was legitimately his name. I don't remember. Let me see if I can look at this up. Arizona State.
I know that memorable factor did play some snaps for Duke here this last weekend, by the way. But
That's good.
Skittleboo is a new one. That would
what was his name?
and Kool-Aid has some great tackles against Ole Miss too. Kool-Aid.
Oh, that I was wrong. Arizona State running back Cameron Skatteboo.
Skatteboo. That's
Skattee. Skatteboo.
Okay, but his
Great
name is Cameron. But his first name is Cameron. I
Yeah,
thought
but
you were
you
saying that his first name is Skittle and his last name is Boo. Which
Oh, no,
is
that's
the
weird.
names I've seen in college football this year would not surprise me whatsoever.
His last name is Skatteboo. Yeah, don't be giving up long plays to that dude. What are you doing, man? Jeez Louise. So the only lock of mine that hit over the weekend, which was an easy one, Penn State 14.5.
Yeah, we called that one
Iowa.
too. We called that here on the show as well. And thank God, finally, Heavy T, Iowa is out of the top 25. That deserves a cheer. I'm tired.
I mean, here's the other.
Awful. Man, get out of here.
Here's the other thing with that too. Kate McNamara, that dude sucks.
Oh.
Like that dude is awful. And
Talk
I
about
believe
a guy
he's
who's played in the NFL or in college football for 7 years too.
Yeah, dude, and he's the dude that was the ex-Michigan quarterback.
Michigan, he was a transfer there. He has 3 transfers. He's on his 3rd transfer to Iowa.
Where did he start? I'm curious.
Some FBS or somewhere. It was like, and then he transferred to Michigan.
Okay.
And now he transferred from Michigan to Iowa.
Yeah, no, he sucks. Like he's
not good.
Awful.
Yeah. No. Iowa sucks. They're not good. Duke, 4-0 now. A big win against UConn. How do you feel about the Dukies here at 17 for the AC? Now, Florida State's been kind of off and on, right? So you're looking at the ACC and you got Miami, who's 4-0. You got Duke now, who's had some big wins. Florida had their trouble against Clemson. Duke made Clemson look like not the Clemson we know.
It's true. It's true.
And the quarterback for Duke is playing out of his mind right now. So I kind of like Duke to be a sneaky, maybe make the ACC championship and could possibly win.
I'll tell you what. I will believe in Duke if they win this weekend. This weekend. Duke is at home against number 11 Notre Dame.
Oh,
so that'll be a good one.
If Duke beats Notre Dame, well, hopefully the coach is smart enough to put 10 men on the field.
Yes, and we know Duke can count because they're counting all those basketball championships they got.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second because I'm
not lately.
Not lately. Give me 1 sec because I'm very curious what the spread is for that game.
Yeah, I think the only other shout out on the top 25 I want to give out before we go into the preview for next week is Fresno State, who I said will be in the top 25.
Good to see that. Top 25.
Sure enough, here they are at number 25, 4-0 in the Mountain West. And in the Mountain West, the only team that can give them fits is Air Force. They are the actually the only other Mountain West school even receiving other votes here in the top 25. They're on the list here over Clemson, by the way, more votes. However, Fresno State does not play Air Force in season play this year. So the Mountain West Championship could be Fresno State, an undefeated Fresno State versus an undefeated Air Force.
Okay.
And the winner of that could go to a big bowl.
Fresno State has Nevada this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Air Force has San Diego State.
It's going to be a little harder.
Yep.
Okay.
That'll be good. Real quick. So Notre Dame, Duke. Notre Dame only favored by 5.5.
That's it?
That's it. Just 5.5 right now. It's on FanDuel. Over under is 51.5.
I don't want to touch that game.
5.5 is it's not much.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to touch it. And it's in South Bend?
No, it's actually in it's at Duke.
Oh. That's why it's 5.5.
That's an interesting one. 4:30 Pacific time on ABC.
Oh, it's the game of the night. I may see, which means that game day is going to be in Duke.
They'll either be there or 6 o'clock on ESPN is Alabama, Mississippi State. They could be there just because it's Bama. But no, I think Notre Dame Duke. That's a good one.
That's a good one. I like that one. So let's go into the matchups for next week and kind of see what we got. We'll just do the top rank. I don't want to go into some, Kent States of the world or anything like that. Friday night
touchdown Bengals. Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon. I forgot he played football.
There it is.
Yes, Joe Mixon, 52 yards on 11 carries for the touchdown there. So Joe Mixon, and still Joe Burrow, 190 though, just can't move left or right. So he's just staying in the pocket and just dinking and dunking. 9 receptions for Jamar Chase for 89 yards. By the way, the Philadelphia game is over. It ended at 25-11, and Philadelphia are them.
Oh, real quick before I mention, because you mentioned the NFL scores. Shout out to Scoregami yesterday. We got one of those with the Dolphins winning 70-20. That was a Scoregami. So this
I'm really mad that they made that extra point.
Which one?
The Dolphins.
It
would have been the nice score of the
week. Philly 25, Tampa Bay 11. We have another Scoregami. That is the 1078th unique final score in NFL history. Congratulations, boys.
Is it really?
We did it. 25-11.
Wow.
Scoregami, baby. We did it. Congratulations, everybody.
Man, everybody who does those squares for the Super Bowl that have 1 and 5
are like,
why couldn't that happen during the Super Bowl?
Yeah, this is the time you want it. You're not getting it now. Love that. Anyways, big games, college football this weekend. My bad.
It's fine. We got plenty of time here. My never ends. The big game is actually one of the biggest ones in the Pac-12 is actually Friday night. On FS1. Wow, number 10 Utah, number 19 Oregon State. Oregon State looking to bounce back. I don't know what's going on with Cameron Rising, but hey, they're 4-0 and number 10 in the nation without him, which is very surprising because they've actually had a tough schedule. They squeaked one out against Baylor, right? The Florida game was a surprise in my eyes without Rising. And now here we are, 4-0. And Oregon State, who has, I think, the best defense in the Pac-12. And even though it was a barn burner with Washington State, do they have a chance to keep this close? It's a -3, actually, Oregon State at home, which is also surprising, which I'm thinking the public is going to take Utah on this one.
That is Oregon State. That's -3.
At current line. Yes, sir.
It's
very surprising to me, which tells me the public is taking Utah, which kind of wants me to take Oregon State, especially if Cameron Rising does not play. I think eventually that has to hit its head because they've squeaking out wins not normal Utah way would, so it's like, and again, they should have lost to Baylor.
Yeah.
If the public is 70 to 80% on Utah, I'm taking Oregon State in the 3.
All right, just to double check one more time. What was that point spread again? Did you say 3.5?
3.
3. Okay. FanDuel has it at 2.5.
Oof.
Which, oh boy.
Which means it's already going towards Utah because this was open.
Yeah, I think
I'm taking Oregon State. I'm putting it right here on the board. Monday Night Rants. Oregon State wins outright, baby. Money line. Let's go.
This is a coin flip. I think I'm going to take Utah by a little bit.
Okay.
Like maybe a last second field goal, but I think I'm going to take Utah.
Okay. So we split that one. But you see why I would go that way. If Cameron Rising ends up playing, I'm not touching it. But then you're going to see the odds completely flip the other direction by Friday.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. And I'm not saying I would be surprised if Oregon State wins. Like, no, if they win, I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But I'm just surprised that they're the favorites. I would think it would be maybe a -1 Utah on the road. I'm just surprised it started there. So that's a very interesting line for me. Another one that we're both going to probably agree on, USC open -21.5. They're giving USC more than Oregon had at home.
USC -21.5
in Colorado.
No,
Vegas is giving USC more than Oregon and Eugene.
Oh my God!
In Colorado,
the money line is +920. Colorado, smash that money line all day, every day. +920.
Colorado and the points. I'm not going to take the money line. I may put a little bit of money on the money line. I will sprinkle a little bit on the Colorado money line, but I am telling you, I am taking the 21.5 now.
Plus 920 on the money line is insane. Colorado, smash that money line all day for Colorado. They're winning this game because a couple things. Number one, it's in Boulder. Okay. Number two, that crowd is going to be rocking. And number three, now that they got smashed by Oregon, they have something to prove. And number four, USC again. Hey, everybody, USC is not good. They're not good.
Well, their offense.
Okay.
That's their defense. That's not good.
Their offense is, after what I saw at Arizona State, their offense is so at best. Okay. Yeah, they can get the ball down the field. They were fumbling everything the other night. Like, no. And you're letting Scataboo or whatever the hell his name is just torch you up and down the field.
Skittleboo.
Like that plus 920 money line for Colorado. Smash the hell out of that thing. Break your computer mouse. Okay. Break FanDuel. Do what you got to do. Smash that money line.
I'm with you. I'm taking the points, but I'll put a little bit. I hate saying the word unit, but I probably put like maybe a half or a fourth of what I would normally bet on a game on the money line there as well, and the points. So I would double it up. I would do a full unit on the points and then a half on the money line as well.
Okay.
Hi Irene. That's awesome. Okay, cool. I'm glad she agrees. Irene agrees. This one I found very interesting. We don't have to spend a lot of time because we're running out of time. But number one, Georgia has the lowest spread of the year. They're going to Auburn to play Auburn, who's 3-1. It's 14.5 for Georgia. And I'm like, that seems a little low. Even though Auburn's, squeaks some games out, they look better than they have in years past this year. Just the fact that it's 14.5. I'm going, I kind of want to take Georgia in the 14.5. I think this is one of those like 31-10 games or 31-7 games.
Gonna be honest. Bet your house. Bet your house on Georgia. This
there
is
you
why.
Go. We're on the same.
So I don't know if you saw this quote from Hugh Freeze earlier, who is Auburn's head coach. Hugh Freeze on Auburn's first rivalry game of the season against Georgia. Quote, "We should compete out of love for our people, not out of hate for other people." What in the F does that even mean?
14 units on Georgia, minus 14, baby. Let's go.
Georgia wins by 500. What the hell is that?
That's what their coach said.
Hugh Freeze out's gonna beat Georgia with scripture. And I'm like, I want to make this very clear. I am not making fun of any religion, but like, dude, no, that is not how that works. Like, no.
He's gonna pump up the Auburn Tigers. He's just gonna put a heart emoji on the screen as they run out.
Dude, he's pumping up the Auburn Tigers with the power of Jesus. And you know what? More power to you if that's how you want to do it. But as we saw with Tim Tebow, he had Jesus in his heart, and his arm was still a noodle and looked like he was throwing bread on a shelf. Okay, like sometimes God's answer is no, and we're just gonna leave it at that. Okay, sometimes God's answer is no.
I agree with you there. Number 24, new to the AP poll. Number 24, Kansas, 4-0. Big surprise. Not really. They were off to a hot start last year as well. Goes to Texas. Number 3, it's a 17-point spread for Texas. Now, the rush game for Kansas has been absolutely incredible, but the rush stopping for Texas have also been really good with their defense. I kind of feel like it's kind of a trap. A lot of people may go on Kansas here, but especially because Texas kind of, wasn't that great after their big win with Alabama. So I'm kind of taking the 17 in Texas here. Would you agree with that?
I do, and I just want to double check one thing real quick before I say anything further. Just want to look at the Texas schedule for a second.
They're number 3 in the nation, by the way, Texas.
They are number 3 in the nation. Okay, I will now officially say this because one of the other locks I had was Baylor actually plus 16 or minus 16.5. No, plus 16.5. Sorry, against Texas this weekend. I think it would be a lot closer. It was not. So now just double checking Texas's schedule, I can firmly say, and I will say this with confidence, Texas will be one of the 2 opponents in the national championship this year. Texas will be playing for the national title. I am all in on Texas.
Okay.
All in.
I can see it. I can see it actually. So there you go. I like that prediction there. We talked about Notre Dame Duke. It's minus 5.5 Notre Dame. What are we doing here? We talked about it, but are you even betting it? Are you touching it? I'm not.
The temptation is there. I'm going to be very honest with you. The temptation is there. This is one I'm probably gonna have to sleep on,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, same
I
here.
am very tempted. Very,
Okay.
very tempted.
And the last college football question of the night, obviously minus 14.5 Alabama in Mississippi State is very tempting to take Mississippi State in that game. But the one I'm interested in, LSU is a favored team against Ole Miss, who just lost to Alabama,
I'm
-3
fine with
in
that.
Ole Miss. Are you
Do
taking
not
LSU?
do not trust Lane
You're
Kiffin.
sticking away from it?
Now, here's the thing. Do not trust Lane Kiffin. However, at the same time, Brian Kelly can also be a dumbass. So,
It's very true.
but I think in this one, I picked the lesser of the two evils, so I'm going to roll with LSU. I think the 2.5 is fair. Actually, I'd probably take that, honestly. I think they
Yeah,
probably
I'm a
cover.
little disappointed what Ole Miss did. I'm sure the public is going to be on LSU on this one as well. But I just can't do it. I may stay away from it. I may look at the over-under, which is 66, and take the under, actually.
Yeah, the play calling for – because I was watching that game because that
The
was
over-under
the
is
first game I had.
66 in this game.
That's probably a little too much.
Yeah. So if I'm looking at anything, I'm kind of looking at the under of 66.
Yeah, under 66, because you're saying both teams score at least like 30-something.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. So you want my lock? You want Edward's lock of the week?
Okay.
South Carolina covers the 12.5 against Tennessee.
South Carolina covers the 12.5 against Tennessee.
In Knoxville.
South Carolina did look good that first half against Georgia.
Mhm.
Oh,
And Tennessee has not looked good, even though they're 3-1.
no, they have not.
I just 12.5 seems a little high.
It's a very
if it was
misleading 3-1.
10, yeah, I'd be like a little eerie, but 12.5 to me is like a no-brainer. I'm putting a full amount, my full $10 on it. I bet $10 on every game, people. That's what I do. So that's my unit. But I put a full $10 on it. I'm taking South Carolina and the points at 12.5 in Knoxville. That's my favorite one of the whole week coming up. And we'll see how that moves over the week, but that's like my favorite bet.
Okay. And my lock of the week, like I said, smash that Colorado money line button, people.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
get this
awesome.
movement
No,
going.
I'm not calling that a lock, but I am taking
That's-
the points, Colorado points against USC. But I'm
That
not
is a
taking the money line.
100% lock.
I'm going to put
That
a
is
little
a-
money on it as we explained, but I'm not going crazy and putting all my money in that.
$10 on the money line wins you, I think, 92. So it's a pretty worthwhile bet. Smash that button, people. Do it. Call your bookies. Call your bookies family. Okay. Get on that money line. Do it now.
All right.
Also, if you
Well,
have a problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Make
Well,
sure
there
to
you
cover all
go.
my bases here.
Put us to a quick break. When we come back, what say ye, Heavy T? NFL talk. Checking with the games. Case of the Mondays. And a eulogy for our boy, West of PCH. Don't forget to play Bettercast on the break, people. Let's go. Boom.
I like to eat my feelings. So when I'm like super sad, single serving pint sizes of Ben and Jerry's, I just start shoveling that in, and it makes me feel bigger and better. But so let's eat our feelings here. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk football players, food. We're gonna pair them up. Who is represented by what food? All right, I want to just shout out Hal Alexander in there for CMC, Christian McCaffrey, is Rocky Road ice cream. A little bit of
That's a good one.
everything.
Yeah,
Does
how's
it?
it going, Hal?
I like it, man. You know it. I love me some Rocky Road ice cream. Bijan Robinson prime rib. You know what? Bijan Robinson prime rib with a baked potato and some cream spinach on the side. That's what I'm talking about. That is the King's dinner. And Bijan Robinson, I don't care if the dude from The Athletic says only 301, touches. You know what? In honor of Card Sharks, I'm going to say, guys, that I think that number is going to be a little bit higher there for Bijan Robinson. So get your knife, get your fork, you got your steak, you got your Bijan.
Yeah, that's what's up. You're on death row, and they say you get one last meal, and you just say Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I'm totally down with that. Love it.
I got to jump in on one real quick because Mr. Scamper said Kareem Hunt is candy corn, and I actually had a player, Tyler Boyd, was going to be candy corn for me, and basically it's that nobody likes it, but it's always there. It's always there, and somebody always puts their hand in and grabs some and has some. And they're like, well, and afterwards they're like, why did I eat that? That's Tyler Boyd. He always gets drafted and he's just kind of there and nobody knows why. Nobody knows why they take him. Nobody knows where it comes from. Where does the candy corn even come from? Like, it's just there. It's just there.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Monday Night Rants. Matthew Stafford with 2 interceptions now, and the Bengals with a 16-9 lead. By the way, I actually like candy corn. I do. I like candy corn. I know that's I do like. I enjoy candy corn. Man, there it is. There's my confession of the night. I actually enjoy candy.
You're wrong, but you're tacky.
You don't like pickles. So what are you...
It's disgusting, dude. Like, that's so bad. So,
shout out to Coop, by the way, and Howard Bender and Britt for what they do on the Alarm Fantasy Football Show. Get a lot of my good advice from them before I bring it to the show to help me win. You can too. What, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays? Got to do it on the Better Sports Network. Shall we do this new thing that we just made up out of nowhere last week?
What say ye, Heavy T? Let's get it on.
We need like a theme music or something, but this is a new segment we're going to do with Heavy T called it's pretty much recapping the games that happened yesterday in the NFL, but in an interesting light. It's called What Say Ye, Heavy T?
If this theme music is not
LARPing
music?
Yeah,
LARPing, exactly. I was trying to figure out the word for it. If this theme music is not LARPing and like just like someone with one of the, like those big ass like ukulele type things, like, nah, like that's what this theme song needs to be. And just like whatever the title card says, like it needs to be in Old English, like hear ye. Like,
I'm about to go down a really bad nerd hole, but I'm a Witcher fan. I've read the books, play the video games, watch the shows, and he has a bard who plays like the music. And the Witcher was like, that's what I see it as. So
yeah,
we could do something.
I've
like
never
shout out to everyone who watches Witcher. I love it.
Never seen it, never played it, never read it.
Witcher 3 is one of the greatest games of all time in the history of video games.
I don't know. I already have a greatest game of all time, so I don't know if it beats that.
We know it's Madden, Heavy T. We know.
It's definitely not Madden. Okay. So real quick, number one, I just saw Dungeons and Dragons. The movie, which was very good. I was actually thoroughly surprised how much I enjoyed it. But Chris Pine is like a bard type character, which is great. So that's number one. Number two, favorite video game of all time, and my personal pick for best video game of all time, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah, that's up there. That's up there to me too. And the way that you think it's over, but then you play a whole nother game to go.
Exactly. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't played it yet.
It's been out for like 4 or 5 years. Dude. We're good.
Yeah. Honestly, that game means so much to me that I've replayed it all the way through 3 times. And at some point, either this upcoming month or in November, I will actually be getting like a Red Dead tattoo, like right here. So like that game, I love that game.
What say you, Heavy T? Best video game of all time.
Yeah,
I'm going to say Ocarina of Time still, but that's because I'm a Zelda.
That's a classic.
So, and Breath of the Wild. I like Breath of the Wild over the new one. I played the new one, but I just felt like I was just playing Breath of the Wild over again. So it wasn't the same feeling of when I got my Switch and Breath of the Wild and played. I was like, oh, yeah. It got wet.
We love it.
Yeah. I know it's a family show, but it was great. Anyways, so what say ye, Heavy T? Speaking of kids things, I know you're a Falcons fan, obviously.
God. I know where this is going. Yeah. If you didn't see the hat, the helmet, or anything else.
This next weekend, they are going to be on the first ever Toy Story Fun Day football, where they're literally going to show the game in what looks like a 3D Nintendo Switch thing as Toy Story characters. I have to ask, how do you feel about this? What say ye, Heavy T?
I'm actually kind of fine with it. It's cool. I think it's a good way of getting kids interacted with it. I'm very curious to see how it's going to look. I just hate that it's going to happen with my team playing. Because
also at 6:30 in the morning because it's in London.
Yeah, for me, at 6:30 in the morning. So I think I just hate it that it's my team playing because not only am I gonna probably watch it, I'm gonna watch it stressfully. So it takes away kind of the fun out of it. But yeah, no, that should actually be a good game. if the Falcons offense shows up. That's the big part. But I am terrified because I think Calvin Ridley's going to go off on his old team. Like, I'm scared.
That too. My favorite
Yeah.
part about this is that Booger McFarlane is actually announcing the Toy Story version, and they're going to animate him. And I want to know if they're going to have like a little toy cart that goes back and forth on the sideline with him sitting in it, like animated, like he did on Monday Night Football. Shout out to Booger McFarlane and the
God
Toy
damn that stupid Booger mobile. That thing sucked. The thing was.
I hope they
God.
animated for the Toy Story version of it. I'm going to be going back and forth just to see what the heck it is. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. And I kind of like Toy Story. And yes, I cried when Woody left. Another spoiler if you haven't seen 4 yet, but Woody's gone.
Fun fact, if you didn't know, they are making Toy Story 5. That is happening.
Without Woody.
No, he's in it.
He's coming back?
Yep, he's coming
Then
back.
why did they put me through that emotional meltdown
Because
that I had out
nothing-
before?
Nothing means anything when it comes to the sweet smell of cash. Okay? Nothing means anything anymore.
I'm in there with a group of kids crying like one of them.
Everything
don't
you
even
thought
know
was
what's going on.
sacred means absolutely nothing when there's money involved, okay?
I also cried at the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because that poor raccoon went through a lot, man. Another spoiler.
Oh, no, that was sad.
Yeah.
I legitimately cried in that movie. Where
are we going? We're going on tangents here.
Yeah, we're going on tangent. Next.
So, yeah. Speaking of the Falcons, real quick, and just be quick with this. Are you the Lions? Obviously, the Lions dominating that game, and the Lions weren't even that great offensively. Their defense just shut down the run. Really. Are you kind of scared? I know you said Ritter was the man, and like, are you worried about Ritter and the passing game as a whole? Is it sustainable in this modern day?
How do I explain this? I don't think it's Ritter I'm specifically worried about. I'm more worried about the offensive play calling. It's horrendous. It's pretty bad.
Well, it's strictly run base. It's obviously Bijan is the heart, and when we take Bijan out, we're not going to throw it. We're just going to give it to Algier. Like that's literally the play. That is what they're doing.
That's literally it.
And when we have to throw, screw it. Maybe Drake London's down there somewhere.
Yeah, and Kyle Pitts is just non-existent. I actually kind of feel bad for the dude.
Well, he's going to be on the waiver wire in our guillotine lanes next week.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now because I'm starting to prepare the eulogy in my head. I have no idea what I want to say. So, but yeah, it's interesting. We'll leave it at that. I don't.
But
I'm not scared yet.
Though, on the other hand, it is a home game for Jacksonville because apparently they're the team of London, but they haven't looked very good either. Their offense has looked a little stagnant. So I don't know.
They haven't. And you know what? Real quick, little side mini rant for a second.
Okay.
Can we stop these international European games?
Yeah, I agree.
Please? There is no reason why Chiefs Dolphins should be played in Germany. Why are we doing that?
Well, the two best offensive teams in football right now. So
we're depriving the American audience of that. Should be a Sunday night football game. Why is it in Germany? Like, what is that?
At 6:30 in the morning.
Stop trying to make the NFL in Europe a thing.
Well, they try to make the Premier League in America a thing.
It's not going to be a thing. The time differences just don't work. The travel. You're going to tell me that you're going to put a team in London and some kid in college. Oh, cool! I get to play overseas and never see my family again. Like, are you joking? No.
I get to play for the London Jaguars.
Yeah. No, you don't. Okay, you're playing
the Tottenham
in America.
Jaguars.
Like, I don't understand why they are entirely obsessed with putting a team in London or somewhere in Europe when you have literally massive amounts of fans in Mexico City right there. That Stadium Azteca would fill up every single weekend sold out. Why are we not putting a team in Mexico? Why is there not a team in Canada?
It's actually under renovations right now, making it bigger. And it should be, I believe, ready here soon. That I think that's why they weren't a Mexico City game this year in the NFL.
You telling me that Canadians in Toronto wouldn't show up for a game?
They do. They go to Buffalo.
That's what I'm saying. I know Mexicans will show up anywhere in Mexico if there's an NFL team. So we've seen them do it. Like, why are we so...
Okay. Jaguars would be the London team because they forced us down our throat. Who would be the Mexico team? I have my favorite.
I think if we're talking about moving a team, maybe Arizona.
I can see
Maybe.
that. But it would be one of those things too, where literally, I guarantee you, the Raiders would be the favorite.
So my problem with that is that the stadium's too new. There's no way that they would move. The stadium's too new for
I'm
Vegas.
saying like even like an LA, like, dude, Chargers fans don't go to Chargers game. It's
okay,
full
but I was
of
just gonna say that
everyone else.
It's-
So whoever
it's
the
funny
team
you mentioned that.
would move if they played the Raiders would fill out that stadium 80%.
Oh no, totally. But you just mentioned that. I think the Chargers would actually be the perfect candidate. Let's be honest. They play at SoFi. SoFi's not really their home. That's the Rams' home. Like, let's be honest here.
Not really the Rams home either.
They're working on it. Okay. But at least they hire
They won a
competent coaches.
Super Bowl and they still 50-50 with the other teams.
Yeah,
understand.
Spanos should go down to Mexico where he realizes, like, hey, I could actually get more for my dollar down here. Like, when he realizes that this is worth how many pesos? What?
Oh,
like,
no.
yeah, that's Spanos right
turning
there.
a trigger right now on me. You're making me upset.
Jeez. Well, he
Because
sucks,
you said
dude.
Spanos. Yeah, I hate that name.
You know, he's a terrible owner.
He's up there with Allen Robinson, the curse words of the show.
Yeah, so like I said, can we stop making over the Atlantic international games a thing? Stop
I'm
that.
with you.
Just, it's so stupid. I'm sorry. Like, you're going to lose half the audience when they realize, like, oh, we have to get up for games at 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast. You have fans in Hawaii that could probably win a game. You tell me those dudes have to get up at 3:30 in the morning for a London game? No.
That Hawaii stadium sucks, though.
It just...
They even stopped playing the Pro Bowl there. It's so terrible.
Yeah, I know. All right, ran over. Continue.
Yeah, I agree, though. I think, the Liverpool's not playing Manchester United in season in America. They're not. Preseason, yeah, they come over here, they have a good time, they make money, but they're not playing real Premier League games or Champions League games or any of that in America. So that's why I agree with you. So why do we have to do it to that? Like, no, I'm with you. I hate it. I hate it 100%. My next question to you is this. Are the Dolphins the best team in the NFL right now?
No. They're close, but they are not. I am still going. I'll even be safe and say Dolphins are probably top 3. But San Francisco is still number 1.
I agree. I think San Francisco has proven, although the Eagles tonight showed me, they had problems with the Vikings. Week 1, they had a problem with the New England, right? And then tonight they showed me, hey, nah, none of this Baker talk. We're fine. So
I mean, the defense is good, but the offense is winning kind of ugly. I need to see a little bit more. I'm still fine with putting them top 5 now, but they're not top 3.
Ooh, the Eagles not top 3? So you got what, 49ers, the Chiefs?
I think it's probably 49ers, Chiefs, Miami. I think that's your top 3 right now.
I'm willing to put the Bills in there too. The last 2 weeks. After that week 1 loss, they've been dominant in all phases of the game.
Well, they played Washington yesterday. Who did they play week 2?
The Raiders.
Yeah, I'll say they're top 5. I won't put them as 3. If they beat Miami this weekend,
yeah, it's gonna be a big game. Probably the biggest game of the weekend.
Yeah, if they beat Miami this weekend, they're probably 3, and Miami would be 4. Like,
if
they
that
would flip.
defense can get the Tua like they got to Sam Howell. 9 sacks, 4 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean,
2
it is
forced fumbles.
Washington, so let's calm down.
Yeah, but they were also, weren't they 2-0?
Yeah, but was Washington played who? Arizona and
Denver. Was it Denver?
I could beat Denver probably. Yeah. Let me double check that. I know for a fact they played Arizona the first game.
Yeah, I think it was Denver second week.
It probably was Denver. Denver just so bad. Let's see. Commanders. Yeah, they beat the Broncos 35-33.
Yeah.
So, that's right, because Denver actually scored on that Hail Mary.
Yeah,
and then they missed the
it
2-point
was
conversion.
actually a worse game
That's
than what
right.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a really important question for you. We got 2 more questions left until we get to the last one. We've actually already answered the last one when we were ranting earlier, but this one I want to know. Heavy T, everybody here at Monday Night Rants, we all want to know.
Yes.
All this stuff, the News Nation, everything in the world, everyone talking about the fake relationship between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift that I think it's all about for money. And it's clear that they're not actually affectionate for each other. It's really clear in my eyes. Are you a Swiftie?
Yes.
What?
Not even close. I'm very glad you brought this up. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
I am the rest of the show.
I know, for real. Sorry, forget the eulogy. We're talking about Taylor Swift now. So I've actually been very into like all the jokes and memes. First off, the best joke I've seen was someone put on Twitter that the Swifties were going to break Chiefsaholic out of prison, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. That's a grade A joke right there. But I mean, look, I'm gonna talk about this in a way that I should.
Okay.
We're just gonna go to okay. Look, Travis getting hurt, I think you could say it was a cruel summer. Okay, and he had a little bit of a blank space, as it said, and then all of a sudden, Taylor comes along, right? So this dude just throws on a cardigan and he just shakes it off because all of a sudden he is her anti-hero, right? Okay, it actually looks good. It's working. Maybe not the normal guy she dates because I don't think she's ever dated an athlete. So in a weird way, like I said, she's living her wildest dreams with her anti-hero right now, right? So they're gonna, dude, this thing is a love story, okay? That's what it is, okay? He knows, and he's probably told her, you belong with me, okay? You don't belong with these other people. You belong with me, okay? And I really wish I had one of these things going on in my life because like my most recent ex, I am never getting back together with any of them. What's up, Taylor? How you doing? Okay, so it's just not happening, all right? He's literally living, like I said, my wildest dreams. They're taking me back to the days where I was young, back in the days of December, back to December even, you could say, okay? Just when they making me feel young again. That's all it was. It's a feeling that I know all too well, okay? And Travis Kelce out here, this dude, he the man, all right? He looks at Taylor, he's like, I can see you, okay? It's just, they got no bad blood between each other.
Oh, God, stop.
Okay? That's all I got. I'm pretty sure I just fit about 15 song titles.
I was counting. I think you're at like 16 to 8, maybe 18 of Taylor Swift songs.
Yeah,
there.
something like that. Like those are the ones I know off my head, dude.
So you are
like,
a Swiftie.
Oh, dude, yeah. I haven't been able to go to.
Just created another break on Better Sports Network.
Oh no, I probably did. Really,
yeah.
I haven't been able to go to any of the concerts because that thing is just.
Well, no worries. It's
way too
going to be in every theater in America starting next month for 2 months as the #1 movie in the world. So take your friends, get some popcorn, have a few cocktails, and enjoy Taylor Swift live in Argentina.
Look, man, Travis just has to do a couple things. Okay. He just has to be fearless and he just has to be the man. And when Taylor sees that, she's going to look at him and say, mine. Okay. That's that. End of story.
Okay.
That's another 3 song titles in there for you right there.
We're at like 20, 21. So let's count those up in the chat. I'm sure they are right now. I don't know. I got to look at my Apple Music to try to figure it out because I am not as with
Some could say
I
that
do know Bad Blood, though. That's a jam.
Some could say that this love is enchanted.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
Stop. He prepares for my show. He has
Hey.
his ear pods in, listen to Taylor Swift, get
Don't
ready.
blame me. Don't blame me, dog. Okay.
So are you jealous of Travis Kelce or are you
Yes.
okay with this whole thing?
100% I'm
And-
jealous. What are you talking about?
Do you think that's real? That is not a real relationship.
Bro, okay.
It's
Come
not-
on.
It's not real.
She was in the suite with his mom.
So?
That is 100% real. And
The
she
way
did
they
some-
walked out looked awkward. Like they weren't even
well,
holding hands.
okay,
or
yeah, of
close
course
or-
it's going to be awkward. Every camera phone is pointed at you.
Also, his outfit was a little awkward, so that could have.
Look, man, it's Travis.
I wouldn't
Kelce.
want to
What do
stand
you
next to
expect?
him either with that little
Look,
denim blue and white.
I'm just
tie-dye
saying.
jacket.
I'm just saying, okay. She's in the suite. She's having a good time. She's literally chanting like "Let's effing go" in the middle of the suite while his mom's right there. She's chatting it up with the mom. They're having a good time, and then she does something at the end. Okay, when they leave,
Whoa,
the
family
suite.
show, Heavy T.
No,
Oh,
when they
okay,
left
sorry.
the suite, when they left the suite, I saw her do something. This girl went back to where they were sitting, cleaned up all her trash,
No, you didn't.
and
see
made
this.
sure to throw
What?
it away. That right there, that's a veteran move doing that in front of the parents. Okay. Veteran move. You look responsible. You
Was
look
there-
cleanly.
Were you watching some sort of Manning cast or like Taylor cast of just her
Bro,
in the
dude,
booth?
like
what?
Twitter was the Taylor cast yesterday, bro. I saw videos on video. I saw videos about videos, bro. Also, if any of you Swifties are interested in learning about football and are single, hit me up. Slide in your boys' DMs, okay? But I'm just saying, man, I'm all for this. I love it, okay? Absolutely love it. Anything we can do to keep Brittany Mahomes out of the picture, I'm all for it. All for it, 100%.
Everyone, he's a Swiftie. Yep, he's a Swiftie. We know
Swiftie,
it. We
baby.
love it. Monday Night
Swiftie.
Rants.
Bro,
That'll be
that
a thing
woman.
for a while.
That woman has been one of my celebrity crushes, I think, for like 10 years now.
Really?
Yeah, ever since like the second album, I think it was.
Okay, well,
She
there you
also
have it.
has a great banger of a song out right now that she did with Fall Out Boy, and I think the name of the song is what Travis has, the Electric Touch. That's what it is. Boom.
And you get upset with me when I make dad jokes. Like, come on.
I'm just throwing
what Travis
song titles.
The way you said that, what Travis has, the electric touch. Oh, get out of here.
Electric Touch, bro.
I think you're in love with
What he's
Travis
got.
Kelce too.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
All right. You know who I'm not in love with? I'm not in love with the Raiders, and everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels is a moron. 4th and 4 twice after the timeout, after the penalty, decided to go for a field goal. There was 3 minutes left in the game. Well, it turns out if he would have gone for it and gone for the touchdown, he would have 15.8% of winning the game. The field goal, 10.2. Went for the field goal game. He lost. Got with 12 seconds left, a Garoppolo interception.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a case of the moon.
Obviously, Justin Fields, welcome to the show. Well, Taylor Swift enjoyed the game. Justin Fields did not. Just does not look good. I'm with you. I think possibly the Bears will be the number 1 pick.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a
NFL
case
draft
of the
next year.
moon.
And welcome back. Welcome back. Tyler Hackett last year, after game 3, was 1-2. I'm sorry. No, 2-1, right? Or 1-2. Hackett was last year. Sean Payton, 0-3, and gave up 70 to the Dolphins after he talked crap on Hackett. And finally, Sean Payton and the Broncos, well.
Uh-oh. Sounds like
There you go.
somebody's got a case of the moon.
MT, please wish our boy, West of PCH, a very big Monday Night Football, or Monday Night Rants, and football. Farewell.
Tell you what. So I will say goodbye very quickly because we are very up against it. I will give an official eulogy for them next week. We will have 2 eulogies next week. Yes. But I will say
You have enough time?
We do. No, we got like 30 seconds.
Okay.
So like,
Oh, God. And we
yeah.
got a special shout out to a special friend, too.
Yeah, we got like 30 seconds. So goodbye, Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, AJ Dillon, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Kyle Pitts. This team was so bad, had Braxton Berrios and Drew Smith or Smythe, whatever his name is. Russell Wilson was on the bench. Alan Lazard, Matt Collins, T. Jones, Rashad Penny. We wish you well. Goodbye.
Okay, we'll do a full eulogy next week. Maybe we'll get a chance where it's like there's 2 teams in the making that, but goodbye. Welcome to Waivers. From myself, Heavy T, Thomas Stevens on Space Mountain. A big special shout out to my boy, Taj McGowan. We'll see you next week, my fellow ranters. Enjoy your week. Good luck in your college football bets, NFL fantasy football weekends. Let's go. Boom.